In the monsters area, two players were hiding behind a tree. While they were waiting and planning to avoid the monsters, a man suddenly ran past them, heading toward a slime monster. He slashed through all the slimes with critical hits, and the drops were all S-rank. His name was Takahashi Yukito. The two players watched in amazement, but dismissed his feats as mere luck. Yukito, however, thought to himself that it felt like he was being rewarded for all the hardships he had endured in his past life. In his previous life, Yukito was an old man and a bronze-rank adventurer. During an incident on the first floor of the Tokyo dungeon, when other players were panicking, Yukito insisted on fighting the monsters despite being warned of the danger. He was even pushed down by another player, but stubbornly got back up. Since the Adventurers Guild was founded, its familiar status system had been a constant. However, growth varied from person to person. An adventurer leveled up by defeating monsters, and with each level, their stats would usually increase. Sometimes they were even granted unique skills. This was the norm for everyone except Yukito. His level increased, but some of his stats did not. Determined not to fall behind, Yukito spent years hunting weak monsters just to reach level 98, making him the only person to achieve that feat without any notable stat growth. The maximum level, 99, was tantalizingly close. Yukito held on to the hope that everything would change if he reached the max level. He fought monsters relentlessly, even resorting to biting them when he had no other options. But when the status window appeared after his level up, nothing changed. His stats increased by just 1 point. In despair, Yukito shouted that all his hardships had been for nothing. He lost all hope, and when he looked around, he realized he was surrounded by thousands of monsters. Reflecting on his miserable life, he lamented his failures, being unable to save his mother, who had always treasured him, and crushing his little sister's happiness. Accepting his fate, Yukito was killed by the monsters. After his death, a status window appeared displaying a message. The system had encountered a fatal error. It initiated a repair and rolled back Yukito's life. As an apology, the system granted him hidden parameters as bonuses, including a unique stat boost of 9,999. When Yukito opened his eyes, he saw a receptionist congratulating him on becoming an adventurer. He was shocked, realizing this was the day he had registered with the Adventurers Guild. Remembering the system's apology and the stat bonuses, Yukito quickly opened his status window. At first, it looked the same as in his past life. But then, he noticed a new button that allowed him to scroll down. When he did, Yukito saw his luck stat set at an astonishing 9,999 points. Yukito asked himself if the luck stat had always existed because, in his past life, it was supposed to be a hidden parameter. He couldn't believe what had just happened, thinking to himself that he was the guy with 70 years of misfortune. Determined to verify what he saw, Yukito set out to test his luck. In the first floor of the Tokyo dungeon, Yukito encountered a slime and felt a nostalgic connection to it. Then, he saw something extraordinary, a silver slime. Silver slimes were ultra-rare monsters that appeared only once in Yukito's past life. They granted enormous amounts of experience, but were quick to escape. Yukito stealthily approached the slime, but suddenly, an arrow came flying toward it. Panicked, Yukito thought the slime would flee, but instead, the creature attacked him. Yukito countered and defeated it with one strike, but his weapon broke in the process. Frustrated, he muttered about needing to buy a new one. As he was pondering his situation, a glow appeared beside him. It was an S-rank drop-a weapon called the Silver Slime Sword, known for its high attack power. Overjoyed, Yukito decided to continue his hunt. But to his shock, he encountered 4 more silver slimes. Yukito questioned if he was dreaming. The slimes attacked him, but he managed to defeat them all. Every strike he landed was a critical hit, and every drop was S rank. By the end of his hunt, Yukito had defeated 10 silver slimes. All the drops were rare, and at that moment, Yukito finally believed in his luck stat. Overjoyed, he thought to himself that, with this newfound power, he could make a name for himself and bring happiness to his family. He remembered his sick mother and little sister. However, he suddenly realized he didn't know if he even had a home to return to. In his past life, Yukito had lived alone for 70 years. Determined to reunite with his family, Yukito returned to where they lived, but couldn't remember which room was theirs. Then he found their name on the door. Nervous, he hesitated before opening it, but before he could, his sister Nozomi greeted him. Yukito hugged her tightly, surprising Nozomi, who thought he was pranking her with a hidden camera. Yukito promised himself that in this life, he wouldn't let anyone take away what was precious to him. Yukito explained everything to his sister, and Nozomi asked if he could use his luck stats to save their mother. Yukito confidently replied that he could make it happen with a bit of effort. The next day, Yukito sold the rare items he had obtained and used the money to buy the highest grade status ailment recovery potion. He and Nozomi went to the hospital where their mother was staying. Their mother greeted them with a warm smile. Nozomi gave her mother a souvenir, but their mother scolded them gently, saying they shouldn't spend money on such things and should use it for themselves instead. Yukito reassured her that she didn't need to worry about money anymore. They then gave her the potion Yukito had purchased. When their mother asked how he could afford such an expensive item, Yukito replied that he had just been lucky. After drinking the potion, their mother felt light and could breathe easily again. Yukito smiled as both siblings celebrated, though their mother commented that the potion's taste wasn't great. The potion eased their mother's symptoms and stopped the progression of her illness. After some rehabilitation, she received permission for home care. The family was overjoyed. While Nozomi celebrated her mother's recovery, Yukito told her it wasn't enough. The potion was only a temporary measure and couldn't cure the illness. When Nozomi asked what they should do, Yukito explained that they needed a legendary L rank item, the elixir. Nozomi remembered seeing it on TV, a potion capable of curing even someone on the brink of death. However, it couldn't be bought. When Nozomi asked if it was a unique item, Yukito confirmed it. Unique items could only be obtained by the person who defeated a powerful being. Nozomi realized they'd have to acquire it themselves and asked if Yukito could go deeper than the 50th floor of the dungeon. Yukito admitted that, under normal circumstances, it would be impossible and he would die a meaningless death. Nozomi shouted that it was too dangerous, but Yukito calmly replied, "Normally." He reflected on his newfound power and knowledge from his past life. The elixir could sometimes appear on the upper floors, but there was one exception, the 20th floor boss monster, the ancient golem. Its unique drop was the elixir, but the chances of obtaining it were extremely low. Yukito had only heard of it happening once in his past life. Now, with his luck, he felt confident he could get it. Noticing Yukito's scheming expression, Nozomi teased him about it. Yukito wondered if he really looked that way but appreciated her encouragement. He told her he needed to prepare first. When Nozomi asked what he meant, Yukito cryptically replied, "There's always a loophole to everything."